Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Puan Azura. So we shall continue our lesson for this week. And this week I want to share about social capital. Social capital. Okay. Basically, social capital is part of our environment or our context of life. It means also this context has been shared by the entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial leaders in order for them to survive and also thrive in their businesses, and also part of their engagement with community. So what is social capital? Social capital is a form of economic and cultural capital in which social networks are central. Transactions are marked by reciprocity, trust, and cooperation. Okay. And market agents produce goods and services not mainly for themselves but for a common good. So this is the main argument about how one's supposed to see himself or herself as part of the community or the member of the community. So it's not only getting involved in business and survive and thrive along the way, but it's actually try to think that how the entrepreneurs get involved in business, and that business and using or depending on the business, they can also be part of the contribution to the society. Okay, so definitely as a business, it will produce product or services, products or services. So when they try to offer that product to the community or the society, it must be at best it must be coupled by awareness of what we call it society awareness among the people. Now, according to this researcher or scholars, Robert Putnam and Francis Fukuyama, they see the social capital as the networks, norms, and social trust that facilitate coordination, cooperation for mutual benefits. So, Robert Putnam assumption that is something with what we call known as facilities, public facilities. And these public facilities, especially the networks, and has become the norm of people who are acting themselves against creating or even leading to a creation of benefits to the society. Meanwhile, Francis Fukuyama uh, proposed that uh, social capital refers to an institutional informal norm that promote cooperation between two or more individuals. So an institution is an informal norm. So that means it exists, and when it exists, it not be able to convince that they are able to have what we call a good identity among themselves. Okay, so we synthesize these two major arguments, and we recognize that social capital is about trust and social cohesiveness that promote or giving voluntary and participation in the civil society. So it's basically about you be part of the society, be member of the society, and try to contribute to the society. Okay. Type of social capital. We have here bonding, bridging, and linking. So I guess the entrepreneurial leader must see themselves doing this. from time to time and keep improving from time to time. Bonds. What is bonds? Is this refers to family, close friend, people who share our culture and ethnicity. It almost us. They are almost us. So if you are family, a big family, some sort like a family of five or something like that, you can see that the bonding in terms of the between boys and girls and also people around is very good when we talking about family. And also they share the value of the culture and the same context of the daily life. Okay. Bridges, a distant friend, colleague, and associate. This is what we call it a close circle of our life. And the third one is linkages, people or group further up or lower down, and the social under the social behavior. Okay, bridging the social media gap. This is what happening at the moment. We are well connected, however, we are still far apart from each other due to the social media. So the social media group says that make an effort to bridge the social media gap by connecting with online connection, with online through local network event meets up and tweets up. So that means the way that we try to bridge this gap is actually by promoting good interaction between human and also between people to people. So yeah, now we will talk about linking. You know, linking is something that is you try to establish connection between one another. Okay. So these are the what we call a taxonomy between bonding, bridging, and strong ties. Definition: ties people feel close to, involve emotional bond, trust, reciprocity, and requires more and more energy and commitment to nurture that. Very important. Strong ties, strength you will have here is a good attitude. You can identify people. You have the solidarity of the people feeling and all that, and financial support, fine grain info, tacit knowledge, and local way. Okay. The weakness here that we recognize is a redundant somehow. It is isolation. And bonding somehow people say there is a isolation and also legitimacy discount. Legitimacy discount that means you cannot verify person on the other side. Weak ties people do not feel close to and only communicate occasionally. Yeah. So this is the thing. Okay, you need a fresh information and the strength. You need diverse perspective and also what we call it you know that we call something uh okay. So ties weak ties ties people do not feel the close and the communication occasionally. Strength, fresh information, diverse perspective, and cognitive flexibility. That we think that is very much giving the strength to the ties, and not all weak ties breach. So we must acknowledge also there's what we call a cordial ties between one person to another. However, if you could access it well, then it can you can be considered as one of the tasks. For example, uh, uh, by creating issues that attract people. to come in, then we can. Okay. Social capital dimension and the related indicator. So it must be in groups and networks, must involve trust and solidarity. This is very important insight. Trust and solidarity. That means you need to trust in order um, uh, uh, to what we call to secure you as a as a as uh, yeah. Okay. Collective action and cooperation is part of the what we call it initiatives, and also it relates to the development or internalization of culture. Collective action and cooperation is part of that, and involve information, communication, social cohesion and inclusion, and empowerment and political action. This is part of whatever we believe. So how this social capital works? So how this social capital works? Why this is important? Because uh, the what we call it the leaders need to understand. You need a good engagement to create social capital. There is sense of belonging, network, feeling and trust and safety. So this where the leaders can create themselves. Reciprocity, participation, citizen power, and proactive values, norm, outlooks in life, and also diversity must be there as well. So from here, we think the advantage of having social capital, whereby we going to less passive reliant on the state. So that means the state we are referring to the government basically. We will experience lower transaction costs with contract and loss. So this is what we call it advantage of being able to, you know, being able to create um, awareness and also trust to the few public resources needed to govern and amelioration of excessive individuals also can be excluded. Okay, disadvantage of relying so much on social capital is producing negative outcome is generally called a negative social capital. Okay, so that means if we over rely on social capital, think that this is also going to be a problem. And social capital can be a constraint to individual action and choices. And rise of social capital also can result in increase of racial diversity. So that means if we promote this social capital too much, it become more segmentized of the society. Okay, I think that's all for this slide. Let me share another slide with you, Puan. Understanding social capital. Introduction. What is social capital? What constitute the form and dimension of social capital? How do the value of social capital differ from individual, organization, and community? What should business leaders and organizations bear in mind when making investment in social capital? An example of case study the importance of social capital. Okay, Pak, nanti saya akan sambung untuk video kedua untuk yang ini. Okay, terima kasih.